I love bacon and eggs. To have bacon and eggs, two things are needed: a chicken and a pig. The difference is the chicken makes a contribution, but the pig makes a commitment. In our stewardship, we must live as pigs, being fully committed, living out whole life stewardship. Generosity is a way we can live out whole life stewardship. It's our response to God's gracious blessings and abundance in our lives. Stewardship is a quality that is outwardly demonstrated by freely, openly, unselfishly, and abundantly sharing with others out of desire rather than necessity. Those who are generous don't expect anything in return, but they get so much out of the act of giving. In fact, in the 6th chapter of Luke, Jesus is quoted as saying, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured out into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." And so we give because we are commanded to give, but the generous give because it is their nature. I learned this lesson one Saturday morning from two children with a box of donuts. I'm the mother of two boys, and they are the joy of my life. When they were younger, they loved donuts. Well, they still do. But there's one donut franchise where we live that is known for their flashing red "Hot Donuts Now" sign. Those donuts are my son's favorites. There's something about those donuts when they're hot and fresh, and you can count on that red sign to be flashing on a Saturday morning. Early one Saturday morning, that red sign seemed to call our boys out of their sleep. So my husband, the boys, and I decided we would have a treat, and we drove across town to share donuts under that flashing sign. When we got there, we shared laughs and silliness as we enjoyed those donuts together. And as we left, we decided we'd get one more dozen to share later. As we rode home, our brains were buzzing from the sugar and the laughter. And our boys were much younger at this time, maybe 4 and 8, and their chatter in the back of the car centered around those extra donuts. They chatted about which donut they would eat first for their treat later that afternoon, and when we would break that box open. As we slowed the car and stopped at a stoplight, our boys noticed two people and their dog standing on the corner of the intersection. A man stood holding a sign while a woman sat on the grass near him, holding a large dog. Our youngest son was still learning to read, so he asked about the wording on the sign. We explained that the people were hungry and had no food, and their sign was asking if people would help them. The conversation in the back of the car quickly changed. The loud, boisterous, joyful conversation turned serious, intense, and quiet. And slowly, two little hands pushed the treasured box of donuts between the front seats. Tenderly, our boys said, "We want to give them our donuts. We don't need them, but they do, and their dog does too." As my mama heart swelled, I rolled down the window and held the box out of the car. The man ran over and reached for the box, and as he did, I explained, "These are from our children. They want to share them with you both and your dog." The man stopped and glanced in the back seat of our car, where his gaze was met with 4 little blue eyes and 2 huge smiles. One of our boys exclaimed joyfully, "Enjoy them, mister, they're hot and fresh." And the other added, "Yeah, and good." As the light changed, the man stepped away and walked over to his companion. He handed her the box and said something to her. She quickly turned her head to see 2 little hands waving to her from the back seat as we drove away. She waved back and wiped tears from her eyes. 2 little boys and a box of donuts. That's all it took to demonstrate stewardship and generosity. Generosity is not difficult, but it is a choice. As we learn to live as whole life stewards that live their generosity freely and lovingly, may we learn to be pigs and not chickens, being fully committed to our giving and not merely making contributions, because God loves a cheerful giver.